Hello everyone! In this video, I'll show you how to assemble our enchanted paper creatures. This time, I'm assembling our Elementaali dragon. Once it's done, it will look like this. Your paper creation is fully customizable to your liking. Here is an example of what I did to one of our dragons. I painted the whole dragon black with acrylic paint. Then I added all of the red details. They are simply cut out from a red paper and glued onto the dragon. In the end of this video, I'll show you some more customized dragons that have been made by others. You don't need much for this project. All you need is your enchanted paper sheets, some fast-drying glue, and scissors. You will always get instructions to help you with your project. The whole paper creature is divided in numbered sections, such as head, neck, legs, and so on. Assemble your creatures piece by piece. So let's start with the number 1, the head of the dragon. Different lines has different meanings. Every piece starts with cutting pieces out. The complete lines are for cutting. Dashed and dotted lines are for folding. I also cut these little instructions aside for myself, so when it's time to assemble, I can check the note that I've written for the particular piece. When you're cutting, make sure to keep your already cut pieces and your trash pile clearly separate from each other, so you don't accidentally trash your pieces. After cutting, we'll move on to folding the pieces. Fold dashed lines towards yourself and dotted lines away from yourself. In the end, all of these lines and numbers will end up in the inside, so you will have a completely white creature in your hands. This is how I like to fold these longer edges. I do these little nudges against my nail, and once the edge is slightly bent, it's easier to bend it straight all the way. After folding all of the pieces, we'll move on to the gluing. First, I'll tell you something that you might want to take in consideration when choosing your glue. First of all, make sure that your glue dries fast. And by fast, I mean that when you bring the pieces together, it should take like 1, 2, 3 seconds for them to be attached. This will make your assembly so much faster and so much easier. If you're not intending on painting your creature and you intend to leave it white, you should check on how the glue looks like. Some glues dries differently, so you might want to try how it looks after drying and if that look is okay by you. Different glues might have different colors or different shines. For example, my glue, it dries colorless, but it's shiny. And it also leaves these gray marks when the glue wets the paper too much. I personally don't care how this is going to look like, because I'm going to paint my dragon in the end. The numbers on the pieces are only indicating which parts are supposed to be attached to each other. So these flaps are not supposed to be glued in the numeric order. And remember that as the white side is the outside of your creation, we want to put these glue flaps on the inside so they doesn't show. Therefore, the glue should also be added on the white side of the glue flaps. So how to assemble your piece if not following the numbering? It makes assembling easier if you move systematically away from your starting point. So even if it might be tempting to glue every here and there, it gives you so much more room to work and possibilities to turn the paper away from your way if the parts are completely free to move and they are like bendable until you have reached that point. I have chosen the starting points for these pieces that way that you always start the piece from a dead end. I find that this makes the assembling so much easier. You will have more room to glue and place your pieces. Elementaali didn't have a starting point for its tail. The reason for this is that I didn't know when I was making this dragon that what would be the easiest way to deal with it. The tail is the last piece, so both ends of the tail are dead ends eventually. But now that I have assembled the dragon so many times, and I've tried so many different ways to assemble it, I have come to the conclusion that making the tiny tip of the tail first is definitely the easiest way to go. So, I don't think I have anything else to add but to wish you the best of luck for your crafting journey. I finished assembling this dragon in a day, so this could be a fun project for a weekend. Of course, if you decide to customize your paper creation, that adds more time to it. It took me 1 day to make this fire dragon customization, so in total it took me 2 days to finish this dragon. But speaking of customizing, I promised to show you more dragon customizations, didn't I? Here I'll show you. This is a pumpkin dragon made by Aurora Draken. I love the leaves and the colors. Aurora says that this project took her longer than she anticipated, but it was really fun and very easy to assemble. Here is another dragon by Neutral Banshee Art. It's a thunder dragon named Ivoris. I hear that this was a challenge to assemble, but a fun designing project. I love how this one has these 3D additions to it. They're made with hot glue and epoxy clay. It also has eyes and horns, and look at those dummy scales! So cool. These two are both taking part to our Dragon Islands 2022 art competition. We host these competitions time to time where you can win our BJD dragons with your art creations. This year's last event is ending within a week, and I'm so excited to see all of the art and find out our winners. If you want to participate to our events in the future, make sure to not miss them by subscribing to our newsletter in our website. And I think that's all for now. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting!